real and is alive. And even today may be the day that he appears here and across this world. If we really believed that, we know we would be different. And the thing that may bother us deep in our souls is, what if it's true? What if all these things we have accepted kind of as tradition, and we pass tests on what we believe, we call other Christians names who don't believe it, what if we really believed it was true? We'd act a little differently than we do. We'd give much more sacrificially than we do. We would live much more sacrificially than we do. We would witness much more profusely than we do. We would be different people if we believed it. And it may be that however we have locked ourselves up for fear, one of the reasons is not that we're afraid of the world, we're afraid of Jesus. And we're afraid he just may come again. And all of this we're saying just may really be true. And then he came, just like he's going to. He came. Those men sitting around in silence, remembering how they had failed him, he came. And the first word he said to them was, peace. It's all right. I understand. I love you. Peace be to you. Peace. And then the word says they were overjoyed when they saw him. There was great joy because they saw him, the one who said, I love you, and you're forgiven. Yes, you can lock yourself away from him. You can lock yourself up and withdraw, but you can't lock him out. And when he comes, he's going to confront you and me with the facts of our faith, not the fuzzies of our faith, not the things that have produced sort of religious organizations, well-oiled and functioning, but not exactly knowing why. But he presents us with the facts of our faith, with the things we must confront if we're to be the lilies that bloom, the things that are alive. Here, he said, are the essential facts, and he confronted them in that room that night with the same thing he confronts us with today. The first fact is death. He died. He really died. And one of the reasons there is no resurrection in our lives is because there has been no death in our lives. Resurrection always follows death. You can't have resurrection without death. You never can. Resurrection always follows death. In John 12, just a few days before, he had said to these same people, the hour has come for the Son of Man to be glorified. I tell you the truth, unless a kernel of wheat falls to the ground and dies, it remains only a single seed. But if it dies, it produces many seeds. The man who loves his life will lose it, while the man who hates his life in this world or loves it less will keep it for eternal life. Whoever serves me must follow me, and where I am, my servant also will be. My Father will honor the one who serves me. Now my heart is troubled. What shall I say? Father, save me from this hour. No, it was for this very reason I came to this hour. Father, glorify your name. And he went out and he died for us. Death is a reality of the Christian faith. It's a reality. So many of us miss Easter. So many of us are so anxious to change the bunny for the Jesus because they don't want to face the fact that if you link your life by faith to Jesus, you've got to face death. His death and yours. His dying to his selfish interest in order to save us, our dying to our selfish interest in order to do what he said, go and reach the world with the gospel of Jesus Christ. That's what it means to be real as a Christian. Another reality of the Christian faith are scars. He walked in that room and said, look, see my hands, see my side, scarred. Oh, you'd think the way some folks view Christianity that he'd come before them and say, well, fellas, it's all over. Everything is wonderful now. Look, no scars, no scars. Everything's wonderful. It's all beautiful. No scars. But the scars are there. And the scars are still there. And scars are going to be a reality in the lives of those who know Jesus Christ. Adoniram Judson, one of our first Baptist missionaries to Burma, placed in prison, a crude prison, for being a follower of Jesus Christ and preaching his gospel. They hung him up by iron bands attached to chains at night with his hands and his ankles so they wouldn't escape. And those bands would cut because they were crudely welded, and they'd cut into his wrist and his ankles, and then those cuts would heal and cause scars, and then there would be other scars and other cuts, and finally his wrists and ankles were terribly scarred. One day, talking to a friend, he said, when I see Jesus, I'm going to look at his hands and his feet and his side and say, thank you, Lord. Thank you for those scars. And here are mine. These are for you. Remember how the Apostle Paul bragged about the scars on his body? He called them the marks of the Lord Jesus Christ. He said, I bear on my body the marks of the Lord Jesus Christ. 39 beatings, shipwrecks, imprisonment, marks of the Lord Jesus Christ. He wore his scars like badges, because a Christian's life, if he identifies with Christ, is going to be scarred in some ways in this world. Another reality of following Jesus Christ is peace. Oh, how people have tried to get peace. Always saying, if I could just get a little peace, if I could just have a little peace of mind. And this peace, of course, doesn't mean absence of war. It means a kind of inner confidence, the kind of knowledge that no matter what happens, it's all right. That there is within us a resource that can face anything, can handle anything, a kind of peace that passes understanding. And this happens to those who identify with the death and have themselves died to their own lives, those who understand the scars are a part of life for those who follow Christ. Then these are the ones who have the peace. Because Jesus faced us with this ultimate reality, and that is that we have a purpose. Our purpose is not just to gather in a room on Sunday morning and act religious for an hour and go back and live like the devil or live like we want to. Our purpose is to tell the world about Jesus Christ. Go ye therefore, he said, and make disciples of all nations and baptize them and teach them to observe all things whatsoever I've commanded you. That's our purpose. In here, he said, just as the Father has sent me, so send I you. Do you understand, he said? Do you understand that what you're doing is so important that if you tell people they can be forgiven, that's the only way they'll ever know they can be forgiven. So if you don't tell them, they will never be forgiven. Do you see how vital that is? He said, if you really want to live a life of peace, be caught up in that purpose, and I give you my peace. The eye cannot create beauty. The eye can only see it and receive it when it's there. The ear cannot create the beautiful sounds of music or any other beautiful sound. It can only receive it when it's there. And the human mind and heart cannot create peace, because peace comes from God. And only when we have said, Jesus, I identify with your death, and I die to my desire too. I identify with your scars, and I'm willing for whatever scars you'd have for me as I'm caught up in your purpose. Then, he says, peace I give to you, my peace I leave with you. That's how you really bloom. That's when it's real. My dad lived a difficult life. My dad was one of those Christians who decided he hadn't gotten what he thought he was promised in his Christian faith, and he dropped out. He used to sing solos in church much larger than this. In fact, the First Baptist Church of Fort Worth had 10,000 members. He was a young deacon in that church and led the choir when they were without a music minister. And back in World War I, the preachers in that church were saying that World War I was Armageddon and Kaiser Wilhelm was the great beast, and they proved the headlines with the Bible, just like proof texting has happened all through these years. And when World War I was ended and Kaiser Wilhelm was no longer there to be the great beast, the preachers went on to the next one, but my dad said, they lied to me, the Bible is not true, and he walked away from it. In the very same time frame, he lost his first wife when she was very young, and left him with 3 boys under 5 years of age that he had to put in a state orphanage. He went away to the oil boom in Burt Burnett, Texas, and had a grocery store there. My granddad was a grocerman in Dallas, and so my dad opened a grocery store, and after he had done pretty well with that, he sold it, and while he's going out of town, someone robbed him and took every penny he had. My dad had one arm he could not use. He was blind in one eye from birth. The other eye was so weak he never legally could drive a vehicle of any kind. He had a 3rd grade education. And all of his life had been tough. And somehow life had not been what he thought it should be. And his Christian experience had not been what he thought it ought to be. And so he walked away from it. And I grew up not knowing that my dad was a Christian. Not knowing that once he had sung before thousands of people the songs of the faith and believed them with his heart, that he'd walked away from that. And when I surrendered to preach, more in hurt and disappointment than in anger, he asked me to leave his home because he said, I don't want a preacher in my house. And when I preached my first sermon, my mother and dad were there. It was a terrible night. I had 5 pages of notes. The sermon took 3 minutes. I was supposed to give the invitation, but I just froze up and couldn't say anything, so I just sat down, and the pastor extended the invitation, and my mother and dad walked the aisle. And they gave themselves afresh and anew to Jesus Christ. And I saw God change my father. I saw him change into someone who wanted to be a part of the thing that God was doing and encouraged me like I'd never been encouraged before, because he said, this is what God wanted me to do, and I walked away from it when I was a young man. And I saw him begin to give money to the church. Now, this is a man who wouldn't let me drive his car. This is a man who took everything I made and gave me an allowance from that. Now, he was close with money. And I saw him begin to tithe and give his money to the church. And I said, this thing must be real. And he had to work 7 days a week. That was the nature of the oil field and taking care of all wells in those days. And so he got up early on Sunday morning and worked, and then went to his field and went to the field and worked, and then came back to church, cleaned up, came to church, and then after lunch went back out to work, came back in, cleaned up, and went to church again. He couldn't hear a word that was said. It embarrassed him because he didn't know when to stand or sit down or what anyone was saying. I said, why do you go? And why do you go at such extreme difficulty for you to go? And he said, it's very important to me that people now know whose side I'm on. And this is the only way I know of in my last years I can have any kind of witness at all, because my life has been a different witness up until now. Folks, I really believe that I've never seen a person more at peace in those last months than my father. He who had never had peace. And this is the gift God gave me, I think, to say to me, son, what you preach is true. And don't you try to cheapen the gospel of Jesus Christ. Don't try to sell it at a half price. Don't tell people you can have Easter without Good Friday. Don't let people think you can have resurrection without death, because you can't. Don't tell people there are no scars involved in the Christian life, because there are scars involved, and my people will suffer, and I will bless them and give them peace in the midst of it. But don't ever lie about what it means to be a follower of Jesus Christ. And that's what I think God's Word is saying to us today. And if you're one of those who feels that your faith hasn't produced what you've been promised, maybe you've either been promised or you've heard the wrong message. Because Jesus Christ says, if you're going to be a part of me, you must identify with my death, and then you can identify with my resurrection. You must be willing to have the same kind of scars that I have, because this world will scar you if you follow me. And then when you're about my purpose and you do the things that I would want you to do, I promise you my peace. Peace that passes understanding. Let's bow in prayer, shall we? Father, we thank you for the privilege of being about the most important thing on the face of this earth. And Father, it boggles my mind to think what would happen if all of us in this room really believed it and were truly committed to you. And because you're the only one who can make that happen, I pray you'll work in our hearts and we will do your will for Jesus' sake. Amen. Those of you who need to publicly profess your faith in Christ, he stood up and carried a cross down a road and climbed a hill and died for you a terrible death. Would you not stand up and walk an aisle and say, yes, I am his, and I begin to follow him this day? Dear Christian, you need to be a part of a church. No church is perfect, but the church is the bride of Jesus Christ, and the Word of God's commands, do not forsake the assembling of yourselves together. We need to be a part of a church. Would you come and let us be your church and help us, pray with us, and be a part of trying to tell the world about Jesus Christ? I pray that you will. Whatever our Lord would have you do. Let's stand quietly, reverently, and you come just now.
Get more for your money at McDonald's. A regular hamburger is just 59 cents. A cheeseburger, 69 cents.
A penny saved is a penny earned, and that's why you have to pinch it.
For breakfast, a sausage biscuit is 79 cents.
Get good stuff at a good price, because money doesn't grow on trees.
And the breakfast burrito or chicken fajita, only 99 cents each.
When you get to be my age, you'll understand.
More for your money. That's McDonald's today.
AC Green has them. And so do we. Chuck Person has them. And so do we. Sherman Douglas has them. But then again, so do we. And while Vinny the Microwave Johnson keeps his here, you can find yours here. The new basketball shoes from Nike at Foot Locker, where it all begins.
I don't think there's a macho thing about it.
With a fish.
Reading opens up a lot of new places for the imagination, places for us to visit together. So.
I can see from her face how she goes into the story of a book.
I was spending time with my child, and he was spending time with me. We were doing something together.
I think reading is something that she's going to carry with her forever.
It is very, very important for fathers to break down that stereotype and those barriers and to share the reading experience with their children.
Sunday.
Do you know where you're going?
Relive the adventure.
She's here. Lady, you are a jinx. She's right here.
Michael Douglas, Kathleen Turner, and Danny DeVito.
I'm stealing this.
A Romancing the Stone Sunday.
Follow that stone.
This is Joan London. Is your future financially sound? Tomorrow, how to make the most of your money. Also, training camp for America.
Dalton Hilliard have certainly, along with Bobby Hebert, been the offensive story. Herman right back after it under pressure. Picked off by Coy Cook. And that should seal it for New Orleans as Pete Holohan brings him down. And the Saints will take over with 1:07 left to play. That is the third turnover. Coming up tonight here on CBS, of course, it's 60 Minutes as soon as the game is over and at its regular time here on the West Coast, followed by Murder, She Wrote. And then the CBS Sunday Movie, dealing with a very serious subject, Do You Know the Muffin Man? Coming up tonight after football here on CBS. John Robinson takes a philosophical view of things, Henry. He says that the season's like a 16-round heavyweight fight. Well, he's lost this round and losing 2 rounds in a row after Monday night. Losing this one big.
Well, I think urgency plays a very prominent role in a game like this one. It wasn't nearly as urgent for the Rams. Regardless of what happened, they were going to still get a piece of first place or be in first place. On the other hand, the Saints, it was very urgent for them to get back in the race and knock off the Rams. And so that makes a big difference. And once they started with a 14-point lead, I think they stunned the Rams. They were in shock. They never recovered from the shock. And that's really the story of this game.
Reserve running back Bobby Morse in his second year out of Michigan State in the game. As the Saints try to run it out. Clock running down to 50 seconds remaining in the game.
Bobby Morse, his dad, played at Notre Dame. Right before I got there, he was a very good halfback for the Fighting Irish and played with Paul Hornung when Paul was there.
Saints are celebrating. And, you know, Jim Everett has not had a bad day. He's 24 of 42 for 263 and 3 touchdowns. But Bobby Hebert with 276 yards and 3 touchdowns. That has not been the story. The story has been the big guys up front, where New Orleans has won it consistently. Clock running now, and that'll be the final play, as they will not have to run another one. And the New Orleans Saints have come into Anaheim Stadium and done exactly what they had to do. They have defeated the Los Angeles Rams 40-21. Perhaps a bigger victory in many ways than even they expected. Hank and I'll be back with a final word from Anaheim as New Orleans wins it by 19.
We see you back. Oh, no. Hey, Buzzface. Matthew, did you lose your razor? I can't get around my Adam's apple. You can't get around half your face.
You can reach every place on your face with the new Slim Twin razor system. Slim Twin has the slimmest cartridge to shave hard-to-reach places and a choice of pivot or fixed head shaving.
That's pretty good. How do I look? Ugly.
New Slim Twin reaches every place on every face. From Chic.
Left, twin left!
Last week's Miller Lite NFL Player of the Week was Rodney Peete, making him eligible to be Player of the Year. Look for the next winner in Wednesday's USA Today and at the end of the season for the Miller Lite NFL Player of the Year.
The final once again, New Orleans 40, Los Angeles 21 in somewhat of a surprise. So the NFC West tightens up a bit. San Francisco leading New England in the fourth quarter. Phoenix leading Atlanta in the fourth quarter. And if those two games remain the same with the victory here by New Orleans, this is how the NFC's Western Division will look. Even though the 49ers will have won, things have tightened up a bit as New Orleans comes in and beats the Rams. And so for Hank Stram, this is Steve Zabriskie saying so long from Anaheim Stadium here in Southern California, where once again the final score was 40-21 New Orleans. Stay tuned for 60 Minutes, except on the West Coast, where it'll be seen at its normal time. You've been watching CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League.
When you look for champions, you look to CBS Sports.
Tuesday.
What you're about to see is not a recreation.
The front line of the drug war. An officer is cut down.
It's become open season on cops.
On Rescue 911. This is CBS. It's the sale of the decade. At Hallmark Toyota BMW, while they last, Hallmark has luxurious 1990 Camrys. Just $10,695. Factory fresh 4x4s with all these features. $219 down, $219 per month. Mississippi save big on brand new SR5s with $3,500 cash back. Plus, Hallmark is discounting $5,500 on awesome Supras. It's the sale of the decade. Just soon at Hallmark Toyota BMW, I-55 North in Jackson.
The best in gospel music can be found weekday mornings on WJTV 12. Unity in Gospel with your host, Larry Armstrong.
I wake up singing hallelujah in the morning time. He can make me, he can wake me, he can mold it.
Unity in Gospel with your host, Larry Armstrong, weekday mornings at 5:45, only on WJTV 12.
Watch Mississippi Sports Leader, WJTV The News Center, weekends at 10.
Joyce Ann Brown is serving a life sentence for a murder in Dallas.
Somebody was going to pay. I'm that somebody.
But is she the right somebody?
I keep going day for day because I want the world to know that I'm not guilty of this crime.
His name is Felix Rodriguez. He trained anti-communist chopper pilots in El Salvador, where he was also the godfather of Ollie North's Contra resupply operation. An operation, he says, shortchanged the Contras while making some other people rich.
You don't like Ollie North very much. Correct? Correct.
Our children are either going to be invested in now and they're going to grow up and be strong workers and produce for us, or they're going to grow up and they're going to shoot at us because we have not taken the care. You don't have to like these black and brown children, but we're going to need them economically.
I've seen people who are absolutely deathly afraid of her who sit here in Congress.
I'm Mike Wallace.
I'm Orly Safer.
I'm Harry Reasoner.
I'm Ed Bradley. Those stories and Andy Rooney tonight on 60 Minutes.
It was a luxury car engineered for safety. When introduced, the 1934 Chrysler Airflow was pushed off a cliff, somersaulted, and drove away. The engineering still comes first in the all-new Chrysler Fifth Avenue. Luxury with standard driver airbag, Ultra Drive, the world's most advanced transmission, and Crystal Key, a better warranty than Mercedes. Chrysler Fifth Avenue. There is no luxury without engineering.
Your recommendation for our business insurer?
Wausau, sir.
Wausau for workers' compensation.
And group health.
And pensions.
And property. And no one can beat their service.
Well,
I didn't know. He's coming back.
Good work.
For all your business insurance, it's the professionals from Wausau.
The last time we did a story in Dallas about someone who may have been wrongly convicted of a crime, his name was Lenell Jeter. When we caught up with him, he was in jail for life. Now we may have found another Lenell Jeter. A woman. Her name is Joyce Ann Brown, and when we caught up with her, she was also serving a life sentence, prosecuted by the same district attorney's office that put Jeter away. Back in 1980, two black women wearing jogging outfits walked into a fur store in Dallas owned by a Mr. and Mrs. Reuben Danziger. One of the women pulled a gun, and they began stuffing furs into plastic garbage bags. The woman with the gun then shot and killed Mr. Danziger. They both walked out of the store, got into a car, and made their escape. It didn't take long for the Dallas DA's office to find a suspect, and they found Joyce Ann Brown.
They needed a conviction. They needed the pressure off. Two blacks in Dallas, Texas, period, walked in broad open daylight, shot and killed a businessman. Somebody was going to pay. I'm that somebody.
She became that somebody shortly after police found the getaway car used in the robbery. It had been rented to a Joyce Ann Brown, a name familiar to Dallas police because she had previous arrests for prostitution. The vice cop showed her photo to Mrs. Danziger just minutes after she'd been told her husband had died of his wounds. Mrs. Danziger said, "That's one of the women who robbed the store, the one who didn't have a gun." Days later, that same Joyce Ann Brown was sitting at home when she read in the newspaper she was wanted and had reportedly fled to Denver. She called a police officer she knew and said, "I never fled anywhere. I'm sitting right here in Dallas."
I said, "I'm reading in the paper that they're looking for me for this fur robbery." And so I said, "Have you heard anything?" And he says, "I've heard rumor to the effect." He says, "I don't know for sure." I said, "Well, look, I'm coming in. I don't know."
They were showing you a picture in the street, but nobody ever came around to your house?
Nobody, never came, never called. Never came and never called. And vice officers knew my number.
When she went to the police, Joyce Brown was arrested on the spot for capital murder. But in the next few days, police realized that the car had been rented to a Joyce Ann Brown, all right, but a Joyce Ann Brown of Denver, Colorado, a completely different person. She told police she'd loaned the car to a friend, Renee Taylor, who had a long arrest record for, among other things, stealing furs. Taylor had fled Dallas, but sure enough, a search of her apartment turned up the murder weapon and other evidence, even a phone book open to the retail fur page. Taylor's fingerprints were all over the car and all over the crime scene, but police found no physical evidence linking Joyce Ann Brown of Dallas to the crime. No evidence, says Joyce Brown, because she says she was here, trying to put her life together, working as a receptionist at, coincidentally, another fur store, Coslow's, about 3 miles from the Danziger store. A Coslow employee, Judy Ponder, and her husband, Bruce, were among many who later testified that Joyce was at her desk that day near the time of the robbery.
Was there anything special about that day, May 6, 1980?
It was my birthday.
So the Ponders had reason to remember that day, and they remember having a chat with Joyce and leaving her shortly before 1 p.m., about the time the robbery at the Danzigers was starting.
You get the license plate, right?
Right. And then what do you do? Ken Offshay, a wholesale florist, saw the two robbers leave the fur store, noted the license plate number, got a good look at one of the robbers, and went into the store to investigate.
Walked inside, and then Ms. Danziger, I didn't know her name at the time, came out screaming, saying that there'd been a robbery and her husband was shot. So I went in the back with her, saw her husband laying face down in a pool of blood, and decided the best thing to do was get the police.
That 911 call came in at 1:16. Offshay says he saw the robbers leave the store about 4 minutes earlier, putting the getaway at about 1:12. Sandy Beam, a Coslow employee, testified she was clocking back in from lunch when she had a lengthy face-to-face conversation with Joyce Ann Brown. What time was that? Beam's time card reads 1:19. So if the two robbers fled the store at about 1:12, and Joyce Brown was seen sitting at her desk at 1:19, was it possible for her to get from Danziger's and back to Coslow's in about 7 minutes, changing clothes in the process?
Could she have ducked out of the shop, changed clothes, got over to the Danziger store, robbed it, made a getaway, changed clothes again, and returned in the time available?
No.
I don't think she could have done it without the clothes changes. That's some of the worst traffic in Dallas at that time of day.
We decided to try it ourselves at the same time of day to see if we could make it in 7 minutes, taking the shortest possible route. We hit the first light and we're making the second light. It looks as if we'll make the fourth light, which is an unusual break. So it's a fairly clear run so far in this kind of lunchtime traffic. Okay, stop it. How much do we do it?
8:20.
8 minutes 20. But Ken Offshay says the robbers didn't take that route onto the highway, but made a right turn out of the parking lot. What would that do to you if you were going to where Coslow's is?
Well, we put you in the opposite direction from where you wanted to go.
So the case against Joyce Ann Brown seemed weak. But shortly before it went to the jury, Assistant District Attorney Norm Kinney, who told us he was barred from discussing the case, called a surprise witness named Martha Jean Bruce. Bruce, who was awaiting trial on an attempted murder charge back in 1980, testified that while she and Joyce Brown were cellmates in the county jail, Joyce had bragged that she'd taken part in the Fur Store robbery. The DA's investigator, Artie Christian, found her story convincing.
After I talked to her a little bit in detail, she began to tell me some things that indicated to me that she would have had to have talked to someone involved in that crime because of the facts that she had about the way the furs was supposedly baggaged up when they left the scene. And Martha Jean Bruce had that information. She knew that they were in plastic bags.
But she could have read that in the newspapers. Weeks before Bruce was interviewed, the Dallas Morning News reported that the robbers stuffed plastic bags filled with furs into a car and sped away.
A lot of that was out in the papers.
Well, I don't know. I don't recall it being in the papers at that time, and I had no indication that Martha Bruce even had any exposure to the news accounting of the way it was reported.
But she did. Bruce admitted in her court testimony that she'd followed the case in the newspapers. Question: Joyce Brown didn't come in and talk about the guy getting shot and killed. You read about it in the paper, didn't you? Answer: yes, sir, it was in the paper. Question: Miss Bruce, you have an attempted murder for a sentence of 5 years, 2 years probation for shoplifting, and a misdemeanor for shoplifting. Are those the only times that you've been convicted? Answer: yes. But that was a lie. Just 6 months before she testified against Joyce Brown, Bruce had been convicted of filing a false crime report to the police. That came as a surprise to Dan Peeler and Craig Hernke, two of the jurors who had believed Martha Bruce's testimony.
If I knew then what I know now, I certainly wouldn't have voted guilty.
With the evidence we have now, there's no reason why she shouldn't have a new trial.
Did Assistant D.A. Kinney promise Martha Jean Bruce anything in return for her testimony? Both swore that no deal had been made to reduce her sentence. Yet just weeks after the trial, the DA's office wrote a letter to the Texas Parole Board asking that Bruce's sentence be reduced. The governor commuted her sentence and Bruce walked free after having served a little more than a year of her 5-year sentence.
And when he put Martha Bruce on the stand, I said, you stupid fool. He don't care whether you innocent or guilty. All he wants is a conviction.
And that's what the prosecutor got. Joyce Brown was convicted in October of 1980 and sentenced to life in state prison, ineligible for parole until the year 2000. But the story didn't end there. In 1984, her attorney, Carrie Fitzgerald, later joined by co-counsel Jack Strickland, moved for a new trial and requested the DA's files on both Martha Jean Bruce and their client, Joyce Ann Brown.
And what happened when you asked for the file?
They said they didn't have it.
Didn't have it.
And they are saying, I believe, they've lost Joyce Ann Brown's file now, and they've lost Martha Jean Bruce's file.
How common is that?
It's not common. I've never had it happen before. It's not uncommon to say we've misplaced a file and be able to find it after they've searched some period of time, but just simply to have lost all record of it, the original or a duplicate, I've never seen it happen. It's extraordinary.
Their petition for a new trial was denied. Meantime, Renee Taylor, the trigger woman, had been captured in Michigan and returned to Dallas, where she pled guilty to murder. She swore in an affidavit that Joyce Ann Brown was not the person who participated with me in the robbery and murder.
But if Joyce Ann Brown wasn't, who was? If anybody bothered to check on the warrants that were out for Renee Taylor, they would have found that she was wanted for the 1978 armed robbery of a fur store in New Mexico, along with a known associate named Lorraine Germany.
This is a picture of Lorraine Germany. This is a picture of Joyce Ann Brown, and they bear more than a passing resemblance. Germany was acquitted of the New Mexico robbery, but is now in a state prison in Colorado for another robbery and denies any involvement in the Dallas case.
From the pictures that I've seen of Lauren Germany, if she was the one that was with Renee, we do favor. But that does not justify because we favor me having to do somebody else's time.
You have a daughter. You had a stepson who killed himself, age 16. Do you think that your being in prison had something to do with that?
I don't know if me being in prison had anything to do with that, but I believe, and I have to live with it, that had I been home, I don't think he would have been dead. I know he wouldn't have.
How's your daughter doing?
She's fine, proud of her. Sometime I asked her, what do you say to your friends when they ask you where your mother is? So I tell them why you're there. I tell them that you're not guilty and the case is closed. I don't want to talk about it anymore. So I think she like dodges it, you know. She don't hide the fact that I'm here, but she don't talk about it either.
Joyce, if, as you say, you didn't do it, and you tell it very convincingly, how do you get through every day in this place?
I keep going day for day because I want the world to know that I'm not guilty of this crime. And to break or lose my mind, I will remain here for the rest of my life. Really a vegetable. I have a family that supports me. I have a daughter that needs me, and I'm guilt-free. I can lay down at night and sleep. Sometimes I sleep 14, 15, 16 hours straight. I don't have to dream about a crime. I don't have to dream about seeing a man shot down like a dog because I wasn't there.
Then just 3 weeks ago, a stunning turnaround. At a hearing in Dallas, the district attorney's office admitted that their star witness, Martha Bruce, had given false testimony by not revealing her previous conviction for lying, and that the DA's office should have known about that conviction. Judge Ron Chapman then recommended to the Court of Criminal Appeals that Joyce Ann Brown be granted a new trial. Joyce believes she'd be free on bail within a few days.
Well, the first thing I'm going to do is spend some time with my daughter, and that very night I'm going to sleep in the bed with my mama. I've been waiting on that day a long time.
But you'll have to wait even longer. 3 days later, the appeals court denied her bail request until it has a chance to consider the recommendation for a new trial. No one knows how long that could take. So tonight, like every night for the past 9 years, Joyce Ann Brown's in jail.
For 1990, we made one of the world's most beautiful cars more luxurious. But luxury isn't everything. So now when you buy a Chrysler LeBaron, you get a V6 engine, standard driver airbag, and Ultra Drive, the world's most advanced automatic transmission, all under one roof. Unless, of course, you choose LeBaron convertible. Then you get all those features under no roof. Chrysler LeBaron. There is no luxury without engineering.
New Britain, Connecticut is 119 miles from New York City. It only seems farther than that. People here live in the same houses their parents lived in, worship in churches where their grandparents worshiped, and work for the company their great-grandfathers built, the Stanley Works. So it's not surprising Stanley tools are made to last. It would only be surprising if they weren't.
Elder statesmen like myself can save 30% at quality, comfort, Clarion, and sleep hotels. Who says a politician can't control spending?
Seniors save 30% by calling 800-221-2222.
I cozy sweater, an old friend, and a tasty snack make a walk really special, particularly when the snack's fresh, moist, sun-sweet pitted prunes. Let taste be your guide, and you'll discover only one prune tastes sun-sweet.
Tonight, passions explode when an old love affair turns deadly.
There must be some other way.
Mike Connors guest stars on Murder, She Wrote. Then, your child has been violated.
Which one of them hurt you?
They all did.
How could it happen? Who do you turn to? And when do the nightmares stop?
It's their fault they did it.
We should have known.
Pam Dauber, John Shea.
We don't let people hurt us in this family.
A film every parent should see. Do you know the Muffin Man? Tonight.
The Famous Teddy Z, Monday.
Of all the figures to emerge from the Iran-Contra hearings, Felix Rodriguez remains the most shadowy. Rodriguez worked for the CIA in Vietnam and Latin America. At one point, he was assigned by the agency to assassinate Fidel Castro. His name continues to surface whenever anyone brings up allegations that seem to link George Bush to that illegal Contra operation. At the age of 48, a portly Felix Rodriguez is an unlikely figure to find still at the center of a shooting war. But that is where we found him. We rendezvoused with Rodriguez in El Salvador, where the Salvadorian army, backed by the U.S., is locked in a civil war against the communist rebels backed by Cuba. Rodriguez says he first went to Salvador in 1985 on his own initiative as a private citizen to help the Salvadorians in their fight against the communists.
What is it? Are you a war lover? Is that it? Are you constantly in search of adventure?
See, for you and for a lot of Americans, it's very difficult to understand to lose your country to communism. It's not easy. You can read it, but you have to experience it to be able to know what it feels to be taken away from your home, to be separated from your family, and not to be able to return. And that's something that sticks with you for the rest of your life.
Rodriguez has spent the past 4 years training Salvadorian chopper pilots, and he took us along on a combat mission. He flew in the lead chopper. We followed in one of the 4 gunships that accompanied him. What he is teaching the Salvadorians is the treetop helicopter technique he helped develop in Vietnam while working there for the CIA in the early 70s.
Flying at treetop level the way that you do, isn't that taking an unnecessary risk?
No, on the contrary. By experience in Vietnam, we found out that going extremely close to the ground, the guerrilla is not able to determine from what direction you are coming. And by the time they see you, they don't have many time to react and shoot you.
During the mission, Rodriguez spotted a column of guerrillas. He marked their location with a smoke grenade so that helicopter gunships and troops airlifted into the area could engage the guerrillas. Rodriguez, for good measure, emptied his M16. Felix Rodriguez was born in Cuba in 1941 into a life of comfort and privilege. Early on, he was fascinated by guns and the military. But when Fidel Castro overthrew the U.S.-backed Batista regime in 1959, Rodriguez became obsessed with just one goal, to liberate Cuba from communism. He fled to Miami, where he now lives, and quickly found a patron, the CIA.
The first time with the CIA was in, when they started recruiting people for the Bay of Pig invasion.
How did the CIA get to you?
Well, I got to them.
He got to them in 1960 when he joined the CIA-sponsored army of Cuban exiles who would later try to invade Cuba at the Bay of Pigs. While training for that mission, the CIA picked him and a friend to infiltrate Cuba and assassinate Fidel Castro. The CIA left nothing to chance.
We were given a telescopic rifle, a rifle with a telescopic sight, a very powerful rifle. Only 20 rounds of ammunition. You don't need more than 3 or 4, actually. And we were also told that it was already pre-sighted.
Pre-sighted? What does that mean?
Well, it means that the location probably was already found near to a place that Fidel will visit. So the rifle was already pre-sighted to that distance, so we didn't have to mess around with it.
Rodriguez never got the chance to kill Castro, and several attempts to infiltrate Cuba failed.
You still consider Castro a target? For you?
I think he's a very valid target for every Cuban.
If Fidel got away, his right-hand man and confidant Che Guevara was not so lucky. Che, the romantic hero of the Cuban Revolution, had commanded guerrilla insurgencies in Africa and Latin America. But in 1967, he was captured by a team of Bolivian soldiers and their CIA advisor,
percussion instruments can't be beat.
Another great session, D. You know, you've come a long way since the first day.
Oh, I'm glad you think so.
Oh, it's not just me. I showed yesterday's stuff to my professor, and he thinks this has a good chance of being one of the winners.
Winners of what?
Well, my school's got this deal. The top 3 projects from my class will be aired on public television.
You mean this may be on television?
Yeah, at the end of next month.
Ooh. You mean television as in millions of viewers?
Yeah, pretty cool, huh?
Television. Steady! Steady as she goes. I know the fog is thick, but it's our only chance to surprise those blasted redcoats.
Do you understand what's going on? No, but at least Mr. Harper's having fun.
If I can just cross the Delaware and pull this thing off, our new country will make me king. No, bigger, bigger. Emperor. Now bigger. President. Yes, that's it. President George Washington. Press on, men. Okay, cut.
Cut?
Yeah, cut.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, we can get some close-ups of me teaching and some shots of them learning. And, you know, the whole thing from another angle. Same scene.
Okay, yeah, that'll work. That'll work.
Okay, here we go. In 5, 4, 3, 2, cue the oars. Steady! Steady as she goes. I know the fog is thick.
You need some help?
No, I'm fine. You've got the forks and the spoons mixed up.
So, Donald, what's it like working with old lady Grubner? Fine, I guess. I bet you get tired of looking at that face every day. I gotta go back to work, or else I'll be in trouble. See you after lunch. All right, catch you later.
So, how's it working out with Donald?
Well, it hasn't been hideously unpleasant.
Well, it's 3 days later, and I see he's still here.
Don't get excited, Harper. The week's not over. You'll have to excuse me. If you two feel the need to throw things at each other, go outside and toss some grenades.
What are you doing? It's not funny. I've been working really hard here. Clean that up. Who are you, Donald Grubner? I said clean that up. Oh, yeah? Who's gonna make me? I am. That's better. Oh, hi, Mr. Grubner.
What's going on here, Dryer?
Oh, nothing, just a little accident.
Okay. Well, back to work. We need more trays at the counter.
I'm going.
Don't you have some erasers to clap?
I'm going. You know, I don't understand it. They all did so poorly on the president's quiz. You know, the questions weren't that hard. They were all paying attention.
Hey, I'll say they were. They couldn't keep their eyes off you. Of course, it is hard to keep your eyes off a guy charging up San Juan Hill.
Oh, man, do I do a great Teddy Roosevelt or what? Look at the boy. They loved it when I fell off my desk. Just look at them. Just look at me. Just look at me. I made a fool out of myself, didn't I?
Don't be so hard on yourself. Fool is a relative term.
I'm sorry if I messed up your project.
Don't worry, D. That's why they invented editing.
Well, I guess that explains what happened on this quiz. I wasn't such a great teacher today, was I?
Well, if it makes you feel any better, you weren't such a great actor either.
Thanks. I feel much better.
Look, D, the whole thing was probably my fault. You were just trying to help me out, and I'm sorry if I messed up your class.
Actually, Anthony, I was glad to have you here this week. You taught me 2 important things.
I did?
Yep. 1, my students always come first.
And 2,
the camera is not my friend.
Mrs. Grumman, coming up.
What is it?
This table's so clean, you can see yourself.
How nice.
I did the counters, I did the trays, and as soon as I'm finished here, I'll start the back room.
Dreyer, you can go now.
What?
Isn't today your last day with me?
Yeah, but we're not finished yet. There's tons left to do.
Are you telling me how to run my kitchen?
No, ma'am.
All right, then. Just a minute, Dreyer. Here, I set these aside for you.
How'd you know I like chocolate chip cookies?
You're a kid, aren't you?
Thanks.
Well, I'd have thrown them away anyway. Now, clear out of here. I got work to do.
The place sure looks nice.
It sure does.
Well, goodbye, Mrs. Grumman.
Goodbye, Donald.
It goes with the boys that play in the dirt. It goes with the joy. It goes with the hurt. It goes with the men you can't fix in. It's there when you lose, there when you win. It's a piece of America. Share a little piece of America. It's a piece of America. Share a little piece of America.
We're Flintstones kids, 10 million strong and growing.
No one helps kids grow into this big world better than Flintstones.
10 million strong
Flintstones, preferred by more moms than any other children's vitamin.
and growing.
Got a cold? Gotta get Alka-Seltzer Plus cold medicine.
It works. It's fast.
Alka-Seltzer Plus, the fizz works fast.
In the wake of Hurricane Hugo, thousands of families are turning for help to the Red Cross and to you. The best way you can help is to pledge your financial support to Red Cross Disaster Relief. You can give people what they need right now: a place to stay, meals to eat, a helping hand when they need it most. Please call 1-800-453-9000. Thank you.
Next, it's one of the all-time movie blockbusters.
You know how to fly, don't you?
No, do you? Harrison Ford in the network television premiere, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, next.
The verdict is guilty. Tomorrow on Good Morning America, Zsa Zsa Gabor in her first television interview since being convicted. Then later in the week, Tom Selleck on Good Morning America. Wednesday at 9, 8 Central, Doogie's Wild Party leads to a charge of drunk driving. I'm Doogie Howser, MD.
When I was a kid, my mother would read me the greatest stories. Give your child the gift that lasts a lifetime. Read together and share the joy.
Tomorrow, MacGyver is a man of action. Oh, man. Then,
Are you ready for the football?
Randall Cunningham and the Philadelphia Eagles take on the Chicago Bears. ABC's NFL Monday Night Football, America's hit show.
Ultimate closeout at Hallmark Toyota BMW. 89 Camrys with air, AM/FM cassette for just $10,995. Unheard of. Luxurious 89 Cressidas discounted over $4,000. Unthinkable. Roomy 89 four-door Corollas only $79.95. Unbelievable. And save over $5,000 on awesome 89 Supras. Unbeatable. Ultimate closeout this week only, and only at Hallmark Toyota BMW, I-55 North, Jackson.
Does Channel 16 have more fun in the afternoon? Afternoons on Channel 16, it's Mr. Belvedere at 3, The Jeffersons at 3:30, Growing Pains at 4, and Night Court at 4:30. Weekdays on WAPT. 16 WAPT, Jackson, Mississippi.
Tonight, an ABC premiere presentation. Take a journey to the Temple of Doom. Ford is your guide through an epic adventure. Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, next.
Life doesn't stand still for a headache. That's why you need Maximum Strength Anisin 3. Why 3? Because it's aspirin-free, sodium-free, caffeine-free. Maximum Strength Anisin 3. The right relief for the way we live today.
Hoyt Axton, how's it going?
Oh, not so good, Merle. I can't seem to sing sad songs no more.
Oh, why not?
Well, some adoring fans sent me this bouquet.
It's an FTD pick-me-up.
And I can't sing sad songs when I'm feeling so good. When's this feeling go away anyhow?
My friend, the feeling never ends.
Well, what'll I do now?
Try singing happy songs.
There's an idea.
If you know someone singing a sad tune, send an FTD pick-me-up.
Please don't let this feeling in.
We're still trying to make Heinz home-style gravy just like homemade.
He says, nice try.
But we make it with real beef just like yours.
No. He says it's close.
Heinz home-style gravy, so close to homemade.
Have you driven a Ford?
Now, during the official Ford clearance, get low 2.9% financing or $1,000 cash bonus on Ford Escort and Ford Tempo. Plus, get 2.9% financing or a $1,500 cash bonus on Thunderbird. Combine the cash bonus with option package discounts and save over $1,700 on Escort, $2,000 on Tempo, and get over $2,400 in total value on Thunderbird. Just some of the great values at your Ford dealer now. But remember, the offer ends October 4th.
It's happening now. The Crab Lovers Festival at Red Lobster. King crab from icy Arctic waters, steaming, succulent. Delicate snow crab to dip, drip, and savor. And now get your taste of our sweet, meaty Pacific Dungeness. We've created 8 crab and seafood combinations starting at just $6.95. They're here now and only at Red Lobster. Friday through Sunday, try our crab and shrimp special, just $10.95.
Tomorrow, MacGyver is a man of action. Oh, man. Then,
Are you ready for the football?
Randall Cunningham and the Philadelphia Eagles take on the Chicago Bears. ABC's NFL Monday Night Football, America's hit show. Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom returns in a moment.
Terrific Tuesdays, totally wild.
How's my little honey bun?
It's a fantasy of fun with an all-new Who's the Boss? Then
What's your name, Brown Eyes?
This was an older woman.
the season premiere of The Wonder Years and
Hey, what did I tell you guys about eating cookies before you had dinner?
To use a plate?
Right.
it's an all-new Roseanne. Then from east to west, they're saying he's the best and he's on Chicken Soup.
I'm really perfect.
Who's the Boss? The season premiere of The Wonder Years. Then Roseanne and Chicken Soup. Tuesdays, terrific.
At Budget Office Furniture in the extremely yellow building, nobody beats our prices. Nobody. Beautiful quality desks, chairs, file cabinets, everything that'll give your office the successful look you need to compete in today's marketplace without blowing your budget. We keep our overhead low to keep our prices low and your savings high. Never pay extravagant prices again for quality office furniture. Shop the extremely yellow building. Budget Office Furniture, 620 South State, because nobody beats our prices.
It's the world's greatest football machine, the Bulldog van.
and you could win it from Golden Flake Snack Foods, Miss 103, and WAPT TV 16. To enter, go any place Golden Flake snacks are sold. Watch TV 16 and listen to Miss 103 to qualify. Then one of you will win the Bulldog van. And you know what I always say.
One taste and you're stuck on Golden Flake.
Register today to win the Bulldog van at Rogers Dingus Chevrolet in Brandon.
16 WAPT, Jackson, Mississippi.
We now continue with tonight's movie.
I have the perfect remedy for your heartburn with headache.
Oh, I can't take Alka-Seltzer.
This one's different. New advanced formula Alka-Seltzer.
Boy, that tastes great. See? But it's not Alka-Seltzer.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't.
Of course it is. Yes,
No,
it is. Yes, of course it is.
New advanced formula. Believe it or not, it's Alka-Seltzer.
No, it isn't.
Not every woman is a size 8. That's why Legs makes a pantyhose that fits you perfectly. Just my size.
That girl is alright. She's got legs.
Sometimes I wonder if I'm ever gonna make it home again. It's so far and out of sight.
In 1 out of 2 homes in America, people come home to Kenmore appliances. If you're in that lucky half, you know you have the best, because no other brand outperforms a Kenmore. So come over to our house. Great low prices every day, Kenmore quality. That's your money's worth and a whole lot more.
Have you driven a Ford?
Now, during the official Ford clearance, get low 2.9% financing or up to $1,000 cash bonus on Ford Ranger. Get 2.9 financing or $1,250 on Bronco 2. Plus, get up to $750 on select F-Series pickups. Combine the cash with option package discounts and save over $2,200 on Ranger, over $3,400 on Bronco 2, and over $3,200 on big pickups. See your dealer for details on all the great values. Remember, the offer ends October 4th.
It goes with the guys that hang in the sky. It goes with the lows. It goes with the highs. It goes with the girls who live in the sun. It's part of the job and part of the fun. It's a piece of America. Share a little piece of America. Weekly is a piece of America. Share a little piece of America.
It's a wild new Wednesday.
You have to do that with me, too?
No, Ben, they had to stop you from gnawing your foot off.
Growing pains. Then double trouble.
You're gonna go out with him? You got a problem with that?
Head of the class. Then Doogie Howser, MD, makes the move.
What if I freeze up?
To 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock Central.
Oh, jeez.
Then a new time for anything but love.
Yes, I find you attractive.
Do you want to make love with me?
Anna.
Growing pains. Head of the class. New times for Doogie Howser, MD, and anything but love. It's a whole new Wednesday.
Have you driven a Ford?
Now, during the official Ford clearance, get low 2.9% financing or $1,000 cash bonus on Ford Escort and Ford Tempo. Plus, get 2.9% financing or a $1,500 cash bonus on Thunderbird. Combine the cash bonus with option package discounts and save over $1,700 on Escort, $2,000 on Tempo, and get over $2,400 in total value on Thunderbird. Just some of the great values at your Ford dealer now. But remember, the offer ends October 4th.
Most men won't even discuss it with their wives, but when they start losing their hair, they talk about it with me. I say, don't waste your time with those miracle formulas. The Food and Drug Administration says there's no proof that they grow hair. The thing to do is to see a doctor. Doctors have the only treatment programs that are proven to work. Men listen because they know I'm making sense. After all, I'm a doctor.
Only your doctor has treatment programs that work. So see your doctor or call this toll-free number.
For a change of mood, change to Philips soft-tone pastel light bulbs.
I'm in the mood for love, simply because you're near me. Funny, but when you're near me, I'm in the mood for love.
Make everything seem more beautiful with new soft-tone pastels. It's time to change your bulb to Philips.
Ooh, scary.
Tired of wearing the same old face Halloween after Halloween? Why not try a Fright Night nose mask from Bud and Bud Light? There's Batface, Scary Witch, Mr. Pumpkin, and Big Black Cat. Best of all, these amazing masks are available where Bud and Bud Light are sold. So, next time...
Tuesday.
I thought sex was great for you two.
Mike was crazy about you.
No, I'm not crazy, not anymore.
It scares me.
I want you to pay some attention to me. Are you having an affair?
Winner of 4 Emmys, 30-something, Tuesday. Wednesday.
I'm very sorry that you had to go to Vietnam. I bet it's scary there. Have you ever had to shoot anyone? I hope not. Even a kid like me can see that you're helping our country. I hope you don't get hurt over there.
China Beach. Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, starring Harrison Ford, returns in a moment.
This week, catch a 2-part interview with Tom Selleck.
Plus Fred Savage, Julio Iglesias, and Rudolph Nureyev here on Good Morning America this week.
An ABC News brief. Now from Washington, Tom Gerald.
Good evening. East Germany is now calling the more than 6,000 East German refugees who arrived in the West today traitors, and said it only assisted in their evacuation from Poland and Czechoslovakia for humanitarian reasons. The refugees received a triumphal welcome in West Germany. While China officially celebrated 40 years of communist rule, Chinese students in this country staged anti-communist demonstrations in several major cities. More later on the Weekend Report.
One day a fella said to me, "Hey, you like country music? Describe Miss 103. So I said, music, 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 music. Miss 103 is my favorite station. You get Art Reed in the morning, Paul Harvey and Randy Bell news, and they'll always tell you whether it's going to rain and stuff. Back-to-back country. Country favorites from Randy Travis to George Strait to Reba McEntire. Listen, listen, listen. Miss 103. I love it, I love it, I love it. Listen, Miss 103.
What gives you lots of hot water? The lowest cost way?
Nothing does it like gas.
What lets you wash for less money to save every day?
Nothing does it like gas.
What heats water so efficiently it's half the cost of electricity?
Nothing does it, no, nothing does it like gas. For hot water, for cooking, home heating, or drying. Nothing does it, no, nothing does it like gas.
America's best energy value.
16 WAPT, Jackson, Mississippi.
We now continue with tonight's movie.
Plymouth Acclaim has more interior room than Honda Accord and Toyota Camry. More rear seat legroom, a more powerful engine, better rust protection, and a longer powertrain warranty. Yet it costs $1,500 less. How can we charge so little? How can the others charge so much? Acclaim from Plymouth.
Even when all of Company B heads for the phone, it's no problem for Gail Godfrey.
Delta Airlines, Gail Godfrey.
Y'all fly to Lubbock, Texas?
Yes, that is confirmed.
I got some friends who want to talk to you now. Just hold on a second. Thank you. Cincinnati, Ohio. New York City. Monroe, Louisiana.
Albuquerque, New Mexico.
San Jose, California. Portland, Oregon. Here, Montana.
You're all set. Thank you for calling, Delta.
Bye-bye.
Hi, Gail. Did you get many calls this afternoon? One.
Delta, we love to fly, and it shows.
I'm about to mindlessly spoon sugar into my coffee. So I'll have to do extra sit-ups. So after years of this habit, I'll have to do even more sit-ups. Eventually, I won't sleep at night. I'll just sit up. I could use Equal in my coffee and maybe forget all those extra sit-ups.
Equal tastes like real sugar because Equal is made with NutraSweet.
I know. Do the sit-ups anyway.
Equal. What a sweet choice.
Pond's. In my family, we've always used it. Now Pond's has made its first water rinsable cold cream. It removes the dirt soap leaves behind. Pond's water rinsable cleanser cleans like no soap can.
Why does a Q-Tips cotton swab have 50% more pure cotton at the tip than any other swab? For softness, safety, and trust. Q-Tips, a swab by any other name is not the same.
2 kids. There would be 2 boys. Their name would be Michael and Joey. They would look like me, and I'd play with them a lot. I'd be a great father.
7 out of 10 high school students can't write an effective letter to look for a job. What a child grows up to be is up to you. It's up to all of us.
So, you want to know your feelings for this man? Well, have you taken the TAD test?
Have you ever dreamt about me? You ever fantasized about me? Taking your pulse.
Just as I suspected.
I'm gonna kiss you. I just proved it. You love me.
I do, don't I?
All My Children, weekdays.
Now, beautiful hair is as easy as counting to 4. Introducing Rave Professional Hair Care. 4 new Rave shampoos, 4 new Rave conditioners, with a 4-point system that goes from light to deep.
I use number 1 shampoo for fine hair, with number 2 conditioner for body.
You're sure to find the Rave combination that's just right for you. For the first time ever, beautiful hair is as easy as counting on Rave.
Bo knows baseball. Bo knows football. Bo knows basketball, too.
Bo knows tennis?
No. Bo knows weights.
Bo, you don't know diddly.
Wednesday, Doogie Howser, MD, makes the move.
What if I freeze up?
To its new time.
Oh, jeez.
9 o'clock, 8 o'clock Central. Dad.
Yes, I find you attractive.
Do you want to make love with me?
Yes.
Good. I'll see you tomorrow.
Glad I could help. Anything but love after Doogie Howser, MD at 9, 8 Central, Wednesday.
Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom returns in a moment.
Monday on ABC's World News Tonight. If this kid stays off drugs, stays in school, and stays out of trouble, he'll go to college free. An incredible offer is changing lives.
I'm gonna try to be the best.
Watch Peter Jennings on ABC's World News Tonight.
Our patients get better because at River Oaks Hospital, before we treat you as a patient, we treat you as a person.
The effects of Hurricane Hugo on coastal United States and the Caribbean have been devastating. Thousands of people are homeless. Their lives changed, perhaps forever. There is a tremendous need for help to get these people of this area back on their feet. Please take the time to care. Help us rebuild shattered lives. Send your donations to Operation Care, P.O. Box 1717, Spartanburg, South Carolina, 29304.
It's the right color. It's the world's greatest football machine, the Rebel Van. And you can win it free from Golden Flake Snack Foods, Miss 103, Rogers Dingle Chevrolet, and WAPT. To enter, go any place Golden Flake Snacks are sold or Rogers Dingle Chevrolet in Brandon and fill out your entry form. Watch TV 16 and listen to Miss 103 to qualify. Then one of you will win the Rebel Van. And you know what I always say.
One tasting, step on Golden Flake.
16 WAPT, Jackson, Mississippi.
We now continue with tonight's movie.
Only at your Chrysler Plymouth dealer.
And do you, Laura,
take Peter to be your husband?
Poor Laura. She took a cold medicine that made her drowsy. If only she could go back and take Sudafed instead. When you take Sudafed, it starts to work in as quick as 22 minutes without drowsiness.
You feel well enough to get married, honey?
I do.
Fast-acting Sudafed and long-lasting Sudafed 12-hour. You don't get drowsy, you get relief.
We started using Aquafresh when the boys were little.
For Aquafresh, the Reed family.
I've never had a cavity.
My whole life, no cavities.
Plaque is a concern for all of us.
And Aquafresh helps.
I brush with Aquafresh before a date.
So his girlfriend won't sit on the other side of the movie.
Aquafresh fights cavities with fluoride, freshens breath, and helps remove plaque in one complete toothpaste.
Aquafresh works. We all have bright, smiling faces.
Give your family a complete toothpaste. Triple protection Aquafresh.
Mom, you have that problem too?
Every woman on the planet has that not-so-fresh feeling one time or another.
So what do we do?
I use Massengill.
Introducing baking soda and water and new Massengill Unscented. 2 new douches from Massengill for that pure, fresh, absolutely clean feeling.
Massengill, huh?
That's the one I trust.
Baking soda and unscented. Fresh ideas from Massengill.
Terrific Tuesdays, totally wild.
How's my little honey bun?
It's a fantasy of fun with an all-new Who's the Boss? Then
What's your name, Brown Eyes?
This was an older woman.
the season premiere of The Wonder Years and
Hey, what did I tell you guys about eating cookies before you had dinner? To use a plate? Right.
it's an all-new Roseanne. Then from east to west, they're saying he's the best and he's on Chicken Soup.
I'm really perfect.
Who's the Boss? The season premiere of The Wonder Years. Then Roseanne and Chicken Soup. Tuesdays, terrific.
Not every woman is a size 8. That's why Legs makes a pantyhose that fits you perfectly. Just my size.
That girl is alright. She's got legs.
Butterball turkey cold cuts. Any way you slice it, they're delicious. Butterball ham, Butterball bologna, or Butterball smoked turkey breast. They're up to 98% fat-free and all Butterball. So any way you slice it, it's
delicious.
So I'm running late. I had to call Phoenix, so I'm using this other long-distance company. I dialed the wrong number. I got this guy in Fiji.
What? Is this Phoenix? No, you reached Fiji.
I dial again. Fiji again.
What are you
So I called the operator for credit. She said I'd have to talk to customer billing. I said, AT&T operators gave me instant credit. She said, you are not dealing with AT&T.
Well, I am now.
People who thought they could do better than AT&T are coming back for the real value. Aren't you glad you never left?
Unusual.
Highly unusual.
Why the unusual public reaction to Tropicana Twister?
It's not in the natural scheme of things.
Tropicana Twister. Flavor combinations Mother Nature never dreamed of. Deliciously tempting.
We avoid temptation.
Exciting. Weird. Flavors like orange, strawberry, banana.
Sounds pretty good.
Put it out of your mind.
Tropicana Twister. Flavors Mother Nature never intended, but should have.
It's from aliens. Asylum.
This is a message for all the car manufacturers who have been trying to copy the Plymouth Voyager for 6 years. If what you want is a Plymouth Voyager, just tell us. Perhaps we'll build them for you. And you can simply put your names on the front. Voyager. Easy to drive, hard to copy. From Plymouth. That's right. Plymouth.
Wednesday, Doogie Howser, MD, makes the move
What if I freeze up?
to its new time.
Oh, jeez.
9 o'clock, 8 o'clock Central. Then, a new time for anything but love.
Do you want to make love with me?
Yes.
Good. I'll see you tomorrow.
Glad I could help.
Then,
I'm very sorry that you had to go to Vietnam. I bet it's scary there. Have you ever had to shoot anyone? I hope you don't get hurt over there.
China Beach. After Doogie Howser, MD, and Anything But Love, all starting at 9, 8 Central, Wednesday.
Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, starring Harrison Ford, returns in a moment. Thursday, Catch a Killer.
Max, get him! It's him!
Mission Impossible. Bam.
Pack of seasoned killers on their heels.
They're gonna be on us any minute.
No way out.
The young riders.
It's the world's greatest football machine, the Bulldog van. And you could win it from Golden Flake Snack Foods, Miss 103, and WAPT TV 16. To enter, go any place Golden Flake snacks are sold. Watch TV 16 and listen to Miss 103 to qualify. Then one of you will win the Bulldog van. And you know what I always say.
One taste and you're stuck on Golden Flake.
Register today to win the Bulldog van at Rogers Dingus Chevrolet in Brandon.
Number one, Hallmark Toyota. Number one, Hallmark Toyota. Number one. Your Toyota truck giant is number one in 3 states. Why? Rugged 89 Toyota pickup, just $54.95, and you own it for just $5,495. Plus, Motor Trend's Truck of the Year. Tough Toyota 4x4s, just $79.95. 4x4 Toyota Power for just $7,995. That's why we're Mississippi's Toyota truck giant. Hurry to Hallmark Toyota BMW, I-55 North, Jackson.
Already got a hot car? Let Stegall Body Shop make it sizzle. Stegall has the experience and know-how to give your car or truck the look of power. Ground effects from tame to radical. Graphic packages that'll blow away the competition. And Stegall Body Shop is Mississippi's only T-top and power sunroof conversion center. From pop-ups to power sunroofs, we've got it all, starting at less than $200. When your Hot Wheels want to get hotter, take them to Stegall Body Shop, 3631 I-55 South, the first name in auto restyling.
16 WAPT, Jackson, Mississippi.
I always dreamed of going on a fabulous yacht to a wonderful party in skinny white pants. And then I lost weight with Dexatrim.
The Dexatrim diet plan has worked for millions of people. Just one capsule works all day to help you lose weight without feeling hungry.
I always dreamed of being at my sister's wedding and wearing the same size as the bride. And then I did it. I lost weight with Dexatrim.
When it comes to losing weight, more dreams come true with Dexatrim.
ABC News, we have a singular mission: to report to you what is happening in the world, completely, accurately, in a timely and unbiased fashion. And because more Americans get their news from ABC News than from any other source, we take that mission very seriously. You can see it in our faces. ABC News, we're America's choice.
Terrific Tuesdays, totally wild. How's my little honey bun? It's a fantasy of fun with an all-new Who's the Boss? Then...
What's your name, Brown Eyes?
This was an older woman. The season premiere of The Wonder Years and...
Hey, what did I tell you guys about eating cookies before you had dinner? To use a plate? Right.
It's an all-new Roseanne. Then, from east to west, they're saying he's the best and he's on Chicken Soup. I'm really perfect. Who's the Boss? The season premiere of The Wonder Years. Then Roseanne and Chicken Soup. Tuesdays, terrific.
Tomorrow, MacGyver is a man of action.
Oh, man.
Then...
Are you ready for the football?
Randall Cunningham and the Philadelphia Eagles take on the Chicago Bears. ABC's NFL Monday Night Football, America's hit show.
Got a cold? Gotta get Alka-Seltzer Plus cold medicine.
It works.
It's fast. Alka-Seltzer Plus. The fizz works fast.
This is one of 570 million refund locations for American Express traveler's checks. Now you can get a refund virtually anywhere there's a phone, only from American Express traveler's checks. So if your bank doesn't carry them, go to one that does.
the Subaru Legacy L and the Toyota Camry DLX. Which one is the bigger value? Well, the Subaru Legacy has a lot of standard features the competition doesn't, like more horsepower, power windows and door locks, more rear legroom, and four-wheel disc brakes. So, comparing the Subaru Legacy and the Camry, it's obvious. The Camry's not even in the picture. See your Subaru dealer for details on the special value lease program.
Number one, Hallmark Toyota. Number one, Hallmark Toyota. Number one. Your Toyota truck giant is number one in 3 states. Why? Rugged 89 Toyota pickup, just $54.95, and you own it for just $5,495. Plus, Motor Trend's Truck of the Year. Tough Toyota 4x4s, just $79.95. 4x4 Toyota Power for just $7,995. That's why we're Mississippi's Toyota truck giant. Hurry to Hallmark Toyota BMW, I-55 North, Jackson.
If one of your favorite stars isn't on my show this week, my name isn't Arsenio Hall. Posse, show them what I mean. See, we've got stars galore, and it all begins with Chicken Soup's Lynn Redgrave, the funk rock of Cameo, and from the Wonder Years, Fred Savage. I'm not making this up. They're really going to be here on the next Arsenio Hall show.
Monday night after Channel 16's Nightcast.
Next Sunday, based on a true story, she searched a lifetime for a love that would last forever.
Never gonna be with anyone else again.
Until a tragic mistake shook their world.
Your tests have been abnormal for over 2 years.
Nobody told me. Don't you see? We couldn't make love.
Without touching, we're one.
A love stronger than life itself.
She's gonna pull through.
Susan Day stars in a world television premiere, I Love You Perfect, next Sunday.
This is ABC.
The ultimate closeout at Hallmark Toyota BMW. 89 Camrys with air, AM/FM cassette for just $10,995. Unheard of. Luxurious 89 Cressidas discounted over $4,000. Unthinkable. Roomy 89 four-door Corollas only $79.95. Unbelievable. And save over $5,000 on awesome 89 Supras. Unbeatable. The ultimate closeout this week only, and only at Hallmark Toyota BMW, I-55 North, Jackson.
There's a tradition of good taste that only comes from the small town of Kentwood, Louisiana. From a natural flowing artesian spring about 1,000 feet underground. For 25 years, we've taken care to make sure it's just as pure as when we found it. And every day, more people are discovering the unique tradition of Kentwood 100% natural spring water and sharing it with those they love. Kentwood spring water, it's a natural.
When you look this good, you're running the show. Wow. New Dark and Lovely. And there isn't anywhere that you can't go. Wow. New Dark and Lovely. No matter what time of the day or night, you just feel the scene and everything's right. What's the best relaxer when you really care? And how did you get that shiny hair? Wow. New Dark and Lovely. What's better than best? What gives you so much? What makes your hair so soft to touch? Wow. New Dark and Lovely.
Weekdays at 9 on WAPT.
Thank you, Brad. Yeah. Coming up in sports, college football's best player steps into the spotlight. Some of the best players in the Carolinas trying to brighten their college futures. Sports with Ty is next, but first, tonight's holiday greeting from the Armed Forces.
Greetings from Misawa Air Base, Japan. My name is Captain Gordon Talbot. With my family, Heather, Sarah, and Emma,
Once you hit 30, it's all over. Your legs are shot, your whole body goes to pot. Forget about sports entirely. You have to be serious all the time. You can't eat anything that tastes good. Creamed corn.
Who says you have to give up the things you like? Give up something you won't miss, like a little oil. Ruffle.
Next.
Finished with women. Done.
It's a special episode of Doogie Howser, MD. Then, one man's wife is another man's obsession. Carl Weathers, Lonette McKee, Billy D. Williams, Dangerous Passion tonight.
There's only one place on Earth you can find out.
Did you kill Laura Palmer?
Twin Peaks, April 8th.
Introducing new extra-strength Rolaids, 250 milligrams stronger than Tums EX, 1,000 milligrams of fast relief. This settles it, once and for all.
Your day begins with the bare necessities. Lubriderm lotion, created for dermatologists, absorbs quickly, every day, everywhere. Lubriderm, your bare necessity.
7 Seas introduces Viva Ranch, a new ranch taste that's bold. New 7 Seas Viva Ranch in regular or light. 7 Seas, the bold ranch.
The commercials. Snack time. Mom always makes sure there's something good in the freezer. Yeah, I'll write a microwave fries. All right, Mom. Hot, crisp, excellent. Thank goodness for commercials.
Hello. I guess you know I find you extremely attractive.
Hey, thank you very much. It's time to change your bulb to Philips. Philips Longer Life Square bulbs last 33% longer than ordinary bulbs.
Why is grapefruit juice like the Florida sun? Well, grapefruit juice isn't a red-hot fireball, but it will brighten your day and put a sparkle in your eye. So for the perfect refreshment, let the sun go down and stock up on the delicious taste of 100% pure Florida grapefruit juice.
This new toothpaste will blow you away. Wow. With a breath freshener that's a brush of fresh air. Wow. New Aquafresh Extra Fresh with a breath freshener that beats the leading brand. New Aquafresh Extra Fresh. It's a brush of fresh air.
Don't be a couch potato. Play McDonald's Fries Surprise today. You can still win a trip to Maui, a Big Mac for 69 cents, or $10,000. Hurry, it ends soon. Sweet potato, did you bring the cocoa butter?
Sure, I hate it when you peel.
Hey, check out these Fries Surprise winners. It's the first week, and people have already won over $12 million in cash and prizes. These lucky winners will fly Delta Airlines. Others will spend cash prizes. Carol won $10,000. Now that's no small potatoes.
Everywhere you look, there's a reason to use Visine. And since there are so many different reasons, there are now 4 different Visines. To get the red out, to soothe allergy symptoms, to moisturize, and to relieve for hours. So now, no matter what the reason, look no further than Visine.
Tuesday. My Sammy's going to college. Let's get out there and find you one, huh?
All I've seen here are girls. Where are all the boys? He's sick.
Who's the boss, then?
We all knew the drill. Each of us had an assignment. Wing's assignment was to be invisible.
The Wonder Years.